Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your evening this evening. We're really excited to be showcasing STEM apprenticeships with BP. My name's Malika. I'm from Success at School, and I will be hosting this evening alongside BP. This evening is particularly special to me as we are discussing that the future is most definitely female. Not only will we be discussing STEM apprenticeships, we are joined by a really amazing panel of a range of apprentices at BP and Robin, a member of the early careers team, and they're going to be talking you through the apprenticeship process, all the different STEM opportunities, life at BP, their journey, and how to make you feel confident as a woman going into the world of STEM. STEM makes the world around us. All of us wouldn't be here tonight, and it wouldn't be possible without STEM careers. And for the females that have sent us questions before this webinar, there is no need to feel worried about going into a male-dominated field. This is our strength. We offer viewpoints that no one else can have, and you need to use this to your advantage. So that's enough from me. I'm going to pass it over to the team at BP, and they're going to run you through a little presentation. If you've got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and we will get down to answering them in the last 15 minutes for a live Q&A. We've also got a number of polls this evening to keep you guys engaged and hopefully help you with understanding everything that is talked through today. But that's enough from me. I'm going to pass it over to Robin and hope you guys all enjoy this.
Thanks very much, Malika. So hi everyone, my name's Robin Ashfield. I'm the Early Careers Lead Advisor for the UK here at BP. And I'm joined by some of our fabulous apprentices here today. So you can see we've got Rosie, who is People and Culture Apprentice, working with me in the recruitment team. So she's going to deliver some of this presentation and can talk to you more generally about the recruitment processes that we follow. We've got Shreya, who's an Information Security Apprentice. We've got Yaz in our Aviation Engineering team. We've got Saima in our Trading and Shipping team, and you can see we've got Rob as well. Now, sorry, I've just done something to the slides there. There we go. Sorry, hopefully you can see those all right. Now, it might not have escaped your notice that Rob is in fact a man. Now, Rob is joining us here twofold. So he's joining us as a Project Controls apprentice, where the future needs to be more female. So we don't currently have any female apprentices in our Project Controls team. So Rob is joining us to talk about Project Controls, but also in the form of an ally to talk about support that we would expect the team to give, and the fact that BP, we know that actually part of that change needs to come from our male colleagues who are very supportive. So thank you for joining us. So could we have poll number 1, please, Malika? Okay, great. So hopefully you can all see that poll. How much do you know about BP's apprenticeship offerings? Okay, so we're going to ask you this up front now before we move forward. And then hopefully throughout these slides, you're going to learn something that is going to change your answers and give you a bit more confidence as we go through. Rosie and I will go through the slides quite quickly because we do want to make sure that there's enough time for our panel to talk to you about their experiences, and as Malika said, to make sure there's enough time for some Q&A at the end. So I can see we've got this poll going live, get some respondents. Great. So while those are coming through, then I'll just talk through this slide. So from an IOC to an IEC, we've set our strategy to transform from an international oil company to an integrated energy company. We've got to focus on delivering solutions for customers. Our purpose is reimagining energy for people and our planet. We want to help the world reach net zero and improve people's lives. We believe the world wants and needs a better and more balanced energy system that delivers secure, affordable and lower carbon energy. And while we're mostly in oil and gas today, we've increased global investment in our lower carbon, convenience stores and power trading businesses, what we call our transition growth engines, from around 3% in 2019 to around 23% in 2023. So BP at a glance. Who are we at BP? You might be familiar with BP from our forecourt business, but we do much more than that. At BP, we provide heat, light and mobility to customers all over the world with a purpose to reimagine energy for people and the planet, and an ambition to be a net zero company by 2050 or sooner. We have operations in Europe, North and South America, Australasia, Asia and Africa. We deliver energy solutions across the world. So, who we are. So you can see on this slide here, this is our set of beliefs. Who we are defines what we stand for at BP, building on our best qualities and those things that are most important to us. It comprises of 3 simple beliefs that can inspire us every day at BP to be our best. Living our purpose means safety always comes first, making a positive impact and doing the right thing by following our code. We believe in playing to win, knowing and learning the competition, always looking to improve and being accountable to each other for what we say we'll do. We believe in caring for others, for our colleagues, our customers and suppliers, our partners and communities, getting to know those we work with, supporting each other, prioritising the team and putting ourselves in other people's shoes. The energy transition is one of the biggest and most complex challenges. How we work and the culture we build has never been more important. We need to have the environment where everyone can perform at their best. So Malika, can we have poll 2, please? Not sure if that's coming through, but not to worry. So we'll...
Yes, it is. It's live. It should be live.
Oh, okay, great. I couldn't see it on my side. So
it's live.
Thank you for that. Okay, super. So we are here to talk to you today, as you know, about STEM-based apprenticeships here at BP. Now we have opportunities in digital, engineering, science, trading and shipping. Now I would say for science, we don't currently have any science-based opportunities live. We did recruit for some last year and I would anticipate that we will recruit for some in the future. So I did want to mention them because science is a part of what we do. Applied sciences is part of what we do. However, so we don't have those for this year, but it is something, if you're interested in, please do sign up to our talent community, which is on our early careers recruitment pages, and we will keep you updated when we have any vacancies that are added. In our STEM apprenticeships at BP, we offer a number of different levels. Level 3 as an advanced apprenticeship, level 4 as a higher, and level 6 as a degree. So I'm going to pass over now to Rosie, who's going to talk you through some of the opportunities that we have got live at the moment.
Thank you, Robin, and also feel free to interrupt me if there's any points where more polls are going to be posted. So hi everyone, my name's Rosie. As Robin said, I'm a People and Culture degree apprentice working in the recruitment team, hence why I am helping to present this today. So I'm going to be talking to you about our STEM apprenticeships we have available. In the digital space, we've got level 4 apprenticeships in software and platform engineering, data analytics and product management. So all 3 of these last for 2 years as a fixed term contract, and they all require GCSE, English, Maths and an IT subject at grade 4 or above, or equivalent of 104 UCAS points to include IT or Maths grade C or above. So for anyone that has done a BTEC qualification or something that isn't GCSE or anything, if you've got an equivalent, then definitely let us know if it equates to 104 UCAS points, because that's what we require. And all of these apprenticeships start at £22,100 as the salary. And next, are we talking about the engineering next, or? Yes, engineering is next. So the first one we have is an electromechanical engineering degree apprenticeship, which is 5 years long. This is the only 5-year course that we have. And so the specification is around electrification and products innovation. And for this one, you will need GCSE, English, Maths and an IT grade at grade 4 or above again. And you will also need A-levels, including Maths and Physics, as this is more of a specialised one. You do need to have that base of knowledge before you start this programme. And you can read all of the job descriptions to check where these are based, to check any other eligibility criteria to make sure that you can apply for these. And the other one we have is project controls, which is a 4-year contract, and again 104 UCAS points, and there will be more specification in the job description. And we have 2 project controls vacancies, one based in Sunbury, which is sort of southeast of England, and we've also got one based in Teesside, so much more up north if that's more around where you're based, if that appeals more for you. And these start at £24,100 for the salary. And we've got our most popular vacancies, which are in trading and shipping. So definitely keep this in mind when you are applying, because you can only apply for 1 role per year, and trading and shipping definitely is the most popular. So just keep that in mind when you're looking. If there are a few that you're considering, just know that trading and shipping is a much more saturated pipeline, but we do have more offerings. So we've got a level 3, 4 and 6 apprenticeship in trading and shipping, with the level 3 and 4 being 2 years and the degree being 4 years. The same sort of criteria applies, so GCSE, English and Maths at grade 4 or above, and 104 UCAS points to include IT or Maths grade C or above for the degree. And these actually do start at a higher salary of £30,800, and that goes for all of the levels. They all start at the same salary. So here you can see some of the benefits that you will receive as an apprentice at BP. So I've already spoken a little bit about the salary range. You also will receive a sign-on bonus in your first month of £3,000, which is subject to tax and NI, which does shock some people, but it's still a very good paycheck. And you also get a wellbeing allowance of £1,500 every year, and it resets every year, and you can spend this on things that benefit your wellbeing, such as a gym membership or a haircut or a gaming console, anything that within reason helps with your well-being. That will be expensed back to you up to the value of £1,500. And we also have a very good flexible benefit scheme. So you receive 20% of your base salary to spend on benefits such as private medical insurance, your pension, you can buy more holiday, you can buy private dental insurance. There are so many, and it's an amazing scheme that again BP pays for you. We also have a very good buddy system in place. So every apprentice, everyone in the early careers scheme does have a buddy who is someone who is a bit further on the scheme than you are, and they are there to help you with any questions you've got. They can tell you about their experience, and it's a very personal thing. You can decide how often you meet with your buddy. It could be every week, every 2 weeks, every month, whatever makes you and them feel most comfortable. And it really does help, especially when you're first settling in, because it can be quite a scary experience going straight from school into a working environment. So it's definitely a great thing to have in place. And we also have a lot of societies and clubs. We have a dedicated early careers committee who organise socials for all of the apprentices, all of the grads. And there are some that are London based, some that are South East based, and some that are for everyone. And it's a really good opportunity to meet other people that are on different schemes for you. For example, I've met a lot of people in trading and shipping, a lot of areas that I didn't know much about, and now I've got a lot of friends in them, which is very nice. People that I wouldn't necessarily see in the office if they're based in a different one to me. We tend to have at least one a month, and they're in places such as mini golf. We've got a Christmas extravaganza coming up. We've done flight club before. We've done so many fun things, and it's really nice to just meet with people outside of work, and it's very comfortable. So again, programs last between 2 and 4 years, with the exception of electromechanical engineering, which is 5 years, but at the end you will receive the qualification that you applied for and potentially roll off to become a permanent employee. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the application process. You can find details about this on the website as well, but I know it does help to hear someone just sort of reiterate it for you. So for anyone who hasn't already applied, the first stage is to just upload your CV and answer a few questions for your eligibility. So checking things like your grades, checking that you're 18 or over, things like that are very base level. The first stage is very quick, so don't worry, you're not going to be sitting there for an hour filling out the first part. It's super quick, and we do recommend that you get them in as soon as you can, because although we do have a closing date, some roles may close before that if we do have a very saturated pipeline, if we get a lot of applicants, which we do tend to. So again, if you haven't already applied, we would definitely recommend getting it in sooner rather than later, so you don't miss the opportunity to apply at all. And if you are eligible, you will then be invited to complete our online assessments. And so these are bespoke assessments to test alignment with BP and our values. It's more of a situational judgment test, so if anyone's ever done these for a job interview or any other role you've applied for, you might be familiar. You can find practice questions online, which we would recommend doing just so you know what to expect and to feel a bit more comfortable with it before going into it. And a tip we would give is to answer as truly as you can to yourself, because this is just as much a test for you to see if you like BP as much as we see who we want to work for us. So don't change your answers just to get into somewhere, because it's not going to benefit you or them. So if you do pass our first online assessment, you will then be sent an invite to do an on-demand video interview. And for anyone that hasn't done one of these before, it typically ranges from 3 to 6 questions, and the question will come up on the screen. You've got some time to think of an answer, think of an example, and then you've got a few minutes to just speak about it. You do get a retake option, so if you film it and you're not very happy with it, or maybe it takes you a while to get sort of settled into it, you can retake it. So we do recommend taking this if you need it. It is there for a reason. And again, to prepare for this, you can look up questions, typical interview questions. They tend to be, give us an example when, give us a time when you've done this. And if you haven't done a video interview before and it can seem quite an uncomfortable experience, we would recommend just practicing by videoing yourself answering some questions, and you can get family, you can get friends, anyone that you trust to watch it back and give you feedback, or you can just watch it back yourself and see how you get on. But even just doing that does make it feel a lot less uncomfortable. So that's one of my main tips for that stage. And if you do pass a video interview, you will then be invited to one of our assessment centres, which takes place in one of our offices. It tends to be an all-day event as well, where you can meet other apprentices, you can meet other employees. You will also get a tour of the office as well. So it's an amazing opportunity to really get a feel for the company and the culture. And again, to see if you like the culture of BP as much as we are seeing you as well. So keep that in mind. And there are a range of activities, including a group activity and an individual interview. So the day is broken up and you do get lunch in between. So it's really not as sort of nerve-wracking as it seems. Everyone makes you feel so comfortable, and any adjustments you may need, do let us know, because we want everyone to have the most equal opportunity and we want everyone to have the best opportunity to show themselves. So if you do need anything, there's extra time due to any disabilities or anything like that, do let us know. There will be an option to do that and disclose that in the first stage. So don't be shy, let us know what we can do and we will do that to help you. So now I'm going to pass on to some of our STEM apprentices, talk a bit about their experience, why they chose BP, where they were before. So firstly, we have Shareya.
Hiya, thanks, Rosie. So hi everyone, my name is Shareya Sarasvatula. I'm a second year digital apprentice working in information security or cybersecurity. So my journey kind of started in September of 2021, which was many, many years ago now, when I started my A-levels and I did maths, further maths, sociology and computer science. And then, because I always knew I kind of wanted to do the computer science route, that was kind of what I planned from the start. And then in October of 2022, I applied to universities through UCAS like everyone else. And I also applied to many, many different apprenticeships, including BP for cybersecurity. Then between November 2022 and March 2023, I did all the BP testing that has just been spoken about. So the assessments, the higher view, and then the assessment center in the end, which was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. It was so nice meeting like all the different candidates and getting to meet some of my future employers actually, which was really exciting. I really enjoyed that. And then April 2023 to now, I guess, I received my offer and contract and I started as an apprentice. I worked in security engineering and I also started my apprenticeship course, which is coming to a close soon. So yay, which is very exciting. So some of the quick reasons why I chose BP, you can see them on the screen, but I'll just go through them. I really enjoyed the real world experience. University wasn't really for me. It wasn't the path that I wanted, but again, every person is different. So if that is for you, go for it. But me personally, I didn't want to be in the traditional learning or the traditional school environment. Not being in debt by the end of the 2 years, that's definitely a plus point. And then, like I said, giving you all the employable skills and the competitive salary and the workplace culture that people are really looking for these days was definitely a plus. And then, yeah, some of the highlights for my past year and a half have been doing some panel events similar to this one and talking to lots of young women and non-binary students was great and really inspiring. I've been to university fairs. I've joined some BRGs, which are business resource groups that are just groups of like-minded people, and you can talk about different things. There's some for different ethnicities, so that's called PEN, and then also for like women in networking, so that's really fun. I got to host my own workplace experience for some students in year 11, so that was really cool. I did a scavenger hunt with IBM, had a group of us running up and down London, which was so much fun. Really, really enjoyed that. And then I also got to join a mentoring scheme with one of our vice principals, which taught me so much, such invaluable knowledge and experience, and I really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, this has been like the greatest decision of my life to join BP. Definitely no regrets at all. And yeah, that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Shareya. It was very nice to hear where you came from. And I'm sure everyone else enjoyed that, especially if they are looking more into the digital side of it and seeing sort of what you did, what subjects. So thank you. And next we'll be hearing from Yaz, one of our aviation apprentices.
Thank you, Rosie. Hi guys, my name is Yaz. I hope you're all doing really well and having a good evening so far. So I just wanted to start off by giving you a quick overview of what my slide represents. So essentially it's a snapshot of my journey into the engineering field, and more specifically as an aviation engineering degree apprentice. So I'm currently in my first year right now. So my journey started off by completing my A-levels in mathematics, physics and chemistry. So not too long ago, I was in the same position that many of you may be in right now. And I think it's only through my A-levels that I really, discovered my passion for mathematics and physics. And I think it's the application in the real world, something about that was really appealing to me, which is why I ended up applying to lots of different universities for engineering courses through UCAS. But during this process, I learned about degree apprenticeships, and I think it really caught my attention. I love the aspect of being able to gain real-world experience whilst also studying. So then I applied to several engineering degree apprenticeships, including the one at BP. So in terms of BP's application process, I know this has already been touched on before by both Robin and Shreya as well. So there is a 5-stage application process, including the CV and online questionnaire, and then the online assessments, the on-demand video interview, and then the assessment center. So after I finished my assessment center, I did get my offer, and I joined BP in September 2024, which is only a few months ago. But looking back, it's already been such an exciting and rewarding journey, which I couldn't recommend enough. And then the last point I wanted to mention on my timeline was sort of why I chose BP. So number one, I chose BP, of course, for a strong reputation. It's a well-renowned company worldwide. But not only this, I thought I really appreciated their focus on sustainability and innovation. So before applying for BP, I made sure to really research into BP's culture, their strategy from an IOC to an EOC, IOC to an IEC, and make sure it aligns with what I want to do, my interests, if it represents what I want to stand for, and also all my career goals. And I think that BP really checked all the boxes for me. And then, of course, the hands-on experience. I think especially in engineering, this is something that's really, really useful, because, of course, it's one thing to sort of learn the theory and be presented with all these different bits of knowledge, but then actually being able to see how the drawings on a map sort of pans out in real life is something that's really invaluable. So I've been able to go on site visits and be able to see and touch things, which has really been able to reinforce my knowledge. And of course, the biggest advantage of being able to work and study simultaneously and really leverage that sort of merge of both of them. And yeah, obviously you also don't have the burden of university debt, and you also get to earn a salary. So I think overall it's just an amazing opportunity. And then I kind of wanted to move on to what a day in the life of an engineering apprentice could look like. What sort of activities am I involved in? So first I wanted to sort of talk about my role itself. So I mentioned that obviously I work in the aviation industry, but more specifically, I work within the design and safety sector. So it's all about being precise and putting safety at the forefront. So I work for Air BP, which is a sort of branch of BP, which focuses on fuels, like aviation gasoline and jet fuel, which has a wide range of applications. And basically our role, what it involves is ensuring that the fuel gets safely from the refinery all the way into the plane. So we engineer solutions at places like airport depots. So what I really enjoy about this apprenticeship is that, it bridges the gap between theory and practice. So I've been taking part in a lot of tailored courses. Recently, I completed an AutoCAD training course, which was 3 days long and covered all the essentials. And now I've been assigned my first real-world CAD design task. And I think it's just a really great feeling to be able to design something and then look back at your design being implemented in real life and be able to think, I worked on that and I did that. And yeah, it's just really cool to be able to apply what you learn to something tangible. So I'm also studying university modules. I'm currently in my first year in the University of Warwick. So it alternates between online and on-campus university classes. Obviously, this does also depend on the university itself, but I believe it should be Warwick, but I think that's subject to change. So don't take my word for it. But yeah, so it alternates between online and on campus. And then also we get allocated study days, so we are able to maintain a good work-life balance. And I think also the managers are all really, really supportive. And if you are feeling a bit overwhelmed about your workload, or if you have any exams coming up, they're more than happy to allow you that time to focus on your education. So yeah, I hope this overall gives you a good idea of what an engineering apprenticeship at BP would look like. You know, you're able to learn directly from the professionals, gain experience from real world projects, and also tie it all together with university modules. So yeah, it's just a great mix of education and hands-on work. And I'm excited to see where it will take me. So yeah, good luck to all the applicants, and I hope to see many of you applying to the engineering degree apprenticeship scheme on offer.
Thank you, Yaz, and thank you for talking a bit more about what you actually do as an apprentice, because I think a lot of people see the name, maybe not know exactly what it entails, but I also think it's really good you spoke about the whole university versus degree apprenticeship, because it is quite a tough decision. Obviously, they're both quite different parts of life, so if anyone is feeling like that and they don't know which way to go, just know you're not alone in that, and you do still have time. It's definitely worth putting applications in though, because you never know how you're going to feel in a few months' time. And so thank you very much. And lastly, we're going to hear from Rob.
Okay, thanks very much, Rosie. Yes, so why am I here? Why is the moustached man here? Well, firstly, just like the others, although I'm the opposite gender, I have been in your shoes. I know how intimidating it can be, but it's such a fantastic route. So I would encourage anyone to pursue a degree, well, any apprenticeship. I'm doing a degree apprenticeship, any level of apprenticeship I would encourage. So if you're interested in my route, that's on the screen for you to have a little look at. But secondly, and sort of most importantly, I'm here as an ally. So why allyship? Well, firstly, it's the right thing to do. There'll never be equality if men stand on the sidelines. I think at BP, we recognise that. Then this probably seems a little bit contradictory to what Robin said earlier, but I already work in a diverse team. So yes, there were no project controls apprentices who joined this year that were girls or women. However, as an actual sort of discipline, it's very evenly split, and we do want that to continue going forward. It's very much an open conversation as to why there wasn't so many girls that applied this year, and we want that to not be the case next year. So I'm here to sort of promote project controls, I suppose, to you. Next, and this sort of feeds into the first 2 points, to diffuse historical privileges. So yeah, men need to be engaged to undo the current structures, and hopefully I can be part of that. And lastly, and probably most importantly from a BP perspective, truly diverse teams are shown to benefit an organisation. And to talk to that, I'll talk to you about a couple of stats that I've sort of looked through and cooked up. Well, not cooked up, so that's the wrong word. So the first one there, so collaboration is improved by the presence of women. So this is according to a study by ResearchGate. So I was talking to my sister about this. She actually works in this sphere. And so this is quite an interesting one. So women are better at taking non-verbal cues. And it's actually been proven that groups with more women present are better at taking turns to speak. So to that sense, basically, we're a collaborative company. We only function as well as sort of the weakest link in the team. So one of the main things at BP is we want to have a diverse team. We want to be able to collaborate and create that sort of space and get these different ideas. And big part of that is getting more women into the workplace and well, more women. There's already quite a few, like I said, in our discipline, but encouraging that and keeping that going. Next one, so diverse companies are more profitable. So this is an interesting one, actually. And I have to make sure I don't get this wrong, but it's actually been shown recently that companies in the top quartile for gender diversity in executives were also 25% to be more likely above average, more likely to have above average profitability than those in the fourth quartile for gender diversity. So that's a really interesting point. I think it speaks to the fact that collaboration is improved and basic profitability comes with that. However, male majority teams still do not pay enough attention to women. So token efforts are not enough. So diversity without scale doesn't work. What do I mean by that? Basically, this is another thing that is interesting that's been in a study recently. It's been proven that in teams where you have maybe one woman in the team and maybe 10 men, they are more likely to be ranked as non-influential. So we need to move away from tokenism. We need to move towards having actually diverse teams. So we can't just have, this can't just be a case we have one woman in a team and say, oh, we've done our bit. You know, we're now hitting that, you know, 10% in engineering sector. It needs to be hitting that sort of 50% down the middle. Otherwise, it doesn't actually work. And also, we need more female leaders. So this is another interesting one. So assigning a female leader to a team actually reduces the rate at which individual teammates are discriminated against by 50%. And that's across the board. So with any luck, by getting as much of you guys in as possible, and getting as many of you guys to apply as possible, we will stand a good chance of having as many of you in leadership opportunities going forward and hopefully driving that sort of change. So I suppose the main takeaway from this is that BP and companies like us need more women applying to STEM. This is not only to boost diversity and achieve more, but also to continue expanding the voice of all women in the workplace. And I don't want to say it's down to you, but you are a big part of this. So hopefully, like some of my colleagues have said, hopefully we'll see some of you applying, and hopefully we'll have some of you in project controls next year, and you can start to bully us boys as we should be.
Thank you very much, Rob. I think that was a lovely presentation. And so for all the females that are watching, definitely take what Rob said very, very true to heart, because it is. And just because there are no current apprentices in project controls that are female, it's not to say that there won't be, because there definitely will. And don't let that put you off applying, because again, it's never good. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So the first step is to apply and just show that females can do it just the same as males. And so I hope that this presentation has empowered you, and I hope this whole webinar has empowered you. So next we're going to speak to Saima.
Everyone's okay. So of course I'm Saima. I joined BP this September as a trading and shipping apprentice in data analytics. So a little bit about my journey. So 2020 to 2022, I finished my A-levels. They're up there on the screen. I really enjoyed working with numbers and problem solving, but I just knew uni was not for me. So I did end up taking a gap year in 2022 to 2023. This year was a really hard year for me, to be very honest. I felt quite lost as every single one of my friends had moved onto uni, and I didn't really feel like I had much to work towards in terms of an academic goal, because throughout all of my education, I had some goal to work towards, and this year was completely different. Everything was thrown out the window. So I didn't really know what to do either, and I think that made it very hard, because I was just aimlessly applying to apprenticeships that I didn't really care for. So I did end up taking a second gap year, but I would say this year my head was very screwed on. I figured out what apprenticeships I wanted to go for. I started exploring industries that aligned with my own values. For example, BP, their commitment to innovation and having an impact. Another really important thing was that I refined my skills. So I didn't have any coding background, but I knew I wanted to be in the tech or data space. So during this year, I took on so many different projects, self-learning, and experiences to be able to show my interests in tech and data when it came to being examined on them and being able to talk about them during my assessment centres and interviews. And during this time, I came across BP, I applied, and here I am now. So my first rotation is within commodity risk, and I have also started my qualification as well. A little bit about commodity risk is I kind of work behind the traders on the European gas and power bench, and some of my key tasks are checking volatilities, checking data to ensure that market insights are correct for the traders to use. Clearing alerts and breaches, so we're ensuring that traders are trading within regulation, as well as being part of projects in creating Power BIs, dashboards that drive the P&L, profit and loss reporting insights. Moving on to why an apprenticeship with BP. So of course, the same reasons as everyone else has mentioned. Also to mention, there are so many opportunities of growth within BP. BP invests so much into its people. As an apprentice, I have so many workshops, interactive workshops coming up with speakers from Imperial University. They're really getting the best of the industry to come in and speak to us and shower us with knowledge. And not only that, we have so many resources, for example, data camp. So we're able to get any certification in any data course that we want, all paid for by BP. Another big factor that it was actually one of the standout moments in my hiring process was Robin's commitment to engage with me. So from the beginning, because of Robin, I felt so much more than just an applicant, and she really showed me that BP valued their individuals and valued their personal connections. I had so many companies that I interviewed with and so many offers that I did get, but not a single company interacted with me the way BP did. And lastly, of course, we have a very competitive salary and amazing benefits. Our benefits, I would say, by far surpass any other offers that I've received from competitors. Thank you, that's all.
Thank you very much. And I think, again, it's really good that you spoke about your gap year, and I know that some people do have a bit of a mixed opinion about them. They can have a bit of a stigma, but just know that, again, there is no rush to know exactly what you want to do. If you do want to take a year out and just really think about it to make sure you're making the right decision, then definitely do that. And I think you made really good points as well, again, about why BP over other apprenticeships, because I think it's a very unique company, especially in the benefits that it does provide. For example, the wellbeing allowance, I don't think I've ever seen another company offer that as a benefit. So BP really does put employees and all early careers wellbeing at the heart of what they do and what they offer. So I think that's definitely something to take into consideration when you're weighing up your opportunities. And
Great.
so we've got now 15 minutes for some questions. Robin, if you want to, I'll pass back to you.
Sure thing. Before we load those questions, Malika, could you add a poll 3, please?
There we go, that's live now.
Wonderful. And I have seen some brilliant questions coming through both in the chat box and in the Q&A that the team and I have been answering.
It's been quite a few questions.
Yeah, we love
Very
that.
good questions.
Very, very good questions. Fab. So whilst that poll is running, thank you to all of the apprentices who spoke and Robin as well. So one of the questions that we've had is the support by the company. So I know, Simon, you've just mentioned that through the application process you felt really supported, but we did have a question about neurodiversity and just generally, once you're in the company, aside from sort of the wellbeing allowance, how do you feel supported? I'll just ping it to any apprentice, Simon, since you started. Do you want to continue that one?
So starting any company is very hard, whether you have your own issues or not, but you're able to disclose that to your managers, to your apprenticeship leads. One thing that I'm really struggling with is just being able to catch up with all the terminology and all the need to knows. And my manager is really amazing. He's able to set up some time every single week to be able to go through all of that. So if I did have any concerns, whether it be personal or with the workload, I would be able to voice it to him. And it's not a matter of fact where I have to go up to him and ask him. I know that can be very daunting. He always makes sure that he comes to me and asks me, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Another thing is that people mentioned we have buddies and we have mentors. So during my handover process, I had a buddy, and anytime I have a problem, I'm able to ping him on Teams and he's very happy to help with anything.
That's great. And then another question that we've had is, The students got a lot of interest in a STEM career. They're really looking to apply, but they've got no work experience in a STEM related field. What would you suggest they do in their application? Rob, I might ping that to you because I recall you saying you worked in hospitality beforehand. So frame that application.
Yeah, so I think I spoke about this in the last workshop. Yeah, I think mostly what it's about is going through the role and picking out the bits that apply to you and just sort of trying to figure out how that's relevant to your own life. So for project controls, for example, it spoke to about being analytical and sort of problem solving and those sort of things. So for me, when I was applying, I was looking at things perhaps working in hospitality where I was problem solving. I don't know, maybe with that's dealing with difficult customers or something like that, or dealing with a change in schedule, and sort of how that works, and all that sort of stuff is actually directly relevant when you start to look at the sort of job description. So the main thing I would encourage is to go through the job description, look for the key points where it says things like analytical or problem solving, or I can't think of any others off the top of my head right now because those are the ones that I had. And just start to break them down into what the core concepts of those are, and just try and think about in your day-to-day life, when do you do those things, and then you can build your sort of case to say why you fit that role.
Thanks, Rob. That's super, super useful. I think a lot of people forget that even if you're just part of football at school, that's showing your collaboration, your teamwork, your leadership skills, how you deal with losing, perhaps. These are all really, really important skills. So really just look at what you do in your daily life, and you'll be surprised to see that a lot of what job descriptions are asking for, you already do possess those qualities. So just try not to overthink it as well. Robin, this is quite a good question that I'm going to ping to you, and it's, what does role progression look like after completing your apprenticeship?
Sure, thank you for that question. So all of our apprenticeships are offered on a fixed term contract basis. So for a level 3 or 4, we will typically offer a contract of 2 years. For a level 6 degree, it will be a 4-year or 5 for the electromechanical programme. What that means is that we will support you during that contract, but that contract will have an end date. Being an apprentice is a bit like doing your A-levels, for example, is there is a time bound on that. You can't be an apprentice forever. But what we will look to do is, if you are doing well in your job with the company and you are doing well in satisfying all of the requirements for your apprenticeship, we will very much work with you to look for opportunities for you to, we call it, to roll off the apprenticeship into a permanent role with BP. So for us, we've invested in you for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. As the panelists have talked about, you get a lot of support from line managers and mentors. We pay all of your course fees. We provide you with a salary and benefits. So we've invested heavily in you to develop the skills that we want to see within our business. It doesn't make good business sense if we invest in you for those years and then we just say goodbye and allow you to take that experience, skills and qualifications to another company. So whilst we can't guarantee that there will be a role at the end, we will try very hard to make sure that that does happen for you, and that would very much be in conversation with you, with your line manager, with your mentor, with your program lead, to have a look at where does the business have an opportunity for you to roll off into. None of us have a crystal ball. We don't know what shape teams were going to look like in 4 years' time. So the role that you join as an apprentice might not be there in 4 years' time, or a new opportunity might have opened up. So we'll have a look and see what opportunities are there, whether they fit with the skills that you have developed over the course of your apprenticeship, and whether they fit with your aspirations. Do you want to be in that role? And it'll be very much part of a conversation for how we then find you, if we can, an enduring role in the business. When you roll off your apprenticeship into the business, if you are successful at that stage, it does become a permanent job. So you go onto a permanent contract and you become an employee like everybody else, and you will continue your growth and your development, your trajectory. People have said, the panelists have said, I think it was Simon, I think you said about the number of courses that are available, the things that you can do. We all have access to those as part of the BP employee workforce. We all have opportunities for development and growth, for continued skills. BP being a company the size that it is, it's really common for people to move around between different functions, between different teams, to make sure that you've got that interest, but also that you're able to make those connections between different parts of the business that mean you are a really rounded professional and you can see beyond the role that you're in. So the role that you're doing, why is that important to another part of the business, or how is that affected by another part of the business? So you will be supported to keep growing, keep developing, move around, and hopefully have a fabulous long-term career with BP.
Great, thank you. Yaz, I'm going to try and bundle a couple of questions to you, because aviation engineering is quite a mouthful. You said some incredible things about jet fuel, and I think it was CAD or CAD training or something like that. A lot of terms that I think as a student, and you were there not too long ago, that could sound a bit intimidating and a bit overwhelming. So sort of part one of the question is, how is this learning structured? Does everyone start on sort of a base level where there's no expectation that you've learned all this before and everyone gets taught in the same way? Is it a lot of independent learning? And then as a second part to that question, which I think you've answered in the chat already, but we've got it a few more times, is how do you manage the learning with the working and hopefully the social life as well? So if you don't mind answering that bundle.
Yeah, sure. So I think in terms of starting off, just completing my A-levels and then coming into the sort of degree apprenticeship space, I think I can answer it in sort of two parts. So in terms of the university studies itself, I think despite the fact that they do require that base knowledge in the maths and the sciences, even when you do start university, if there are things that you may have forgotten over summer, because I know there is quite a long break, there's always sort of refresher courses that they offer and lots of support resources that you can access. So in terms of university itself, they offer you a very nice and slow start. They allow you that sort of space and time for you to get back into the hang of things. So even when I started, I remember the first sort of modules were just on building off on calculus. That is sort of a very big and basic concept that's taught in A-level mathematics. So the first exam we had, it wasn't even too bad. And in terms of university itself, there's lots and lots of support that you can get. So in terms of your lecturers themselves, usually you have, after lectures, you have sort of seminars where you can ask questions personally to the lecturers as well. And they're all really, really happy to help. And in terms of if you are feeling stressed or overwhelmed, there's always usually a well-being. And then this also translates across to BP as well. So when I joined BP, I was obviously kind of nervous because I was joining a team of experienced professionals. They have lots and lots of years of experience, and I'm just starting out after doing my A-levels. So initially I was really, really nervous going into it, but honestly I can assure you that it's not as scary as it seems at all, because everyone at BP is genuinely just so nice and friendly, and they're willing to put in that time for your development. So when you join, they do definitely start off from scratch. So I started when I was first joined. For the first month or so, I was just doing training courses. They have a structured training plan of you completing a certain set of courses, and that will give you that sort of base technical knowledge before starting on any projects. And even I was talking about CAD, which is computer aided design, which is sort of drawing on software tools. Even the project that I'm given now, I was made sure to be given a lot of training on this beforehand. So I had that designated time to do a 3-day CAD course to learn all the essentials. So you definitely won't be sort of launched into any projects or anything. You will definitely be given the sort of knowledge that you are required to start off with. So you'll definitely be on a good good pace to be able to achieve all these things. So yeah, it's nothing to worry about. And I think the second part was sort of balancing it. So Yeah, so I do have allocated study days to sort of concentrate on my university work, so then I don't have to worry about work in those time spaces. And during exam times, you're more than welcome to ask your manager or your supervisor for extra time if you do need that support. So I think everyone on the team is very understanding, and especially your managers, they're very well aware of the fact that university studies can be a bit overwhelming. So you'll definitely get that support that you need. And if anything, you can always just raise your concerns and people will be more than happy to support you.
Thank you so much, yeah. So I'm conscious that we've only got a couple more minutes left for this webinar. So the first thing that I'm going to do is launch the last poll, which is a little word cloud where you can type in your answer as to what would make you feel more confident when applying for an apprenticeship. So I'm going to launch that. And in the meantime, sort of in conjunction with this, I'm going to ask each apprentice and panel member for one bit of advice that you would give all of these students and perhaps even your younger self when you started applying for apprenticeships that would make you feel a bit more confident or sort of support you in that journey as a female embarking on your STEM career at BP. What's one bit of advice? Rosie, I'm going to start with you because we haven't heard from you in a little while.
Thank you. So I know I'm not in STEM, but obviously the same sort of thing applies. I think apprenticeships in general are a bit more sort of male focused, so I feel like I can still speak on this. I would say just don't let that affect you at all. I don't think if you go into an application or an area thinking that there's only going to be males in the team, first of all, there are already females in every team, and BP is trying its best and hiring as diverse as it can, but also just be confident in yourself. I know it might be something that you've heard before, but it is very true. Just apply for what you really want to do and what you feel at heart is something that you want to progress in. And I did see a question about sort of how many people we take on, and again, a piece of advice, I think quite a big one, is just don't think about this, because we don't put this number out because it just won't help anyone. If anything, it makes you just feel like, what's the point of applying if there's only X amount of people? But I don't think if I knew the number I would have applied, but you never know how far you're going to get if you don't try. So it's definitely worth trying at least. And also, if you don't become successful in it, don't be afraid of applying next year. I did actually get rejected from this the first year I applied, and I applied the next year and I got accepted. So don't take no as an answer. In fact, we love when people come back the next year, so just keep trying, and if it is your passion, then it will work out for you.
Oh, that's lovely, Rosie. Rob, I'm going to go to you as an ally for all these students who are coming into BP. What's some advice that you would give them, either applying for an apprenticeship or perhaps to not be scared?
Yeah, tough act to follow. I think Rosie's touched on a lot of points there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wrote down some points that were similar. So be big-headed. I think this is my main point, right? You know what makes you great. Your friends know what makes you great. I think a good activity would be to go away from this, start writing down things. What makes you a good person? What makes you an ideal candidate for any role, not just this role, anything. Are you a good listener? Are you funny? Are you friendly? Are you good at sports? Are you a good team player? Think about all these things that in your life make you who you are, make you a great person. Write them down, and then start looking at it from a professional context. So you then start thinking, okay, right, well, I'm really friendly at lunch. Everyone likes to talk to me. Okay, great. So you're good at making connections with people. And you start to put that into an organizational context, and then you can go into an interview and smash it, because they'll recognize that you're being sincere, and you'll be more confident as well because you'll know where it comes from. I'd say that's my biggest advice.
That's super helpful. You've got to believe in yourself so other people can believe in you. It's super important that confidence has to come from within. Simon, one bit of advice. You're on trading and shipping, the most competitive course there is. So
similar to what Robin you just said. Believe in yourself. Don't underestimate yourself. I know I definitely did. I thought, I'm never going to get through, but I got through the first round. I got through the second round. So why was I underestimating myself from the very beginning and at every stage? So it's ask yourself that question. If you're able to get through the first round, then they see something in you. So just know that you have to have a little bit more faith in yourself than you think.
And Yaz, we'll finish with you.
I'd say that in terms of maybe interviews or any opportunity you have to speak about yourself, just be yourself. I think Robin mentioned this before, but don't feel the need to tailor yourself in order to fit in more with the scheme or fit in more with what you think BP wants to hear about you. Just be honest about your own experiences. You might have experiences that you might not think are directly related to the role you're applying to, but there are a lot of transferable skills in a lot of different things that you can do. So just be yourself and talk about all those things, and you'll definitely be able to come across in a way that's very genuine and also very likable. So yeah, I'd say don't be too scared for the interviews and just reflect yourself in the most truest and genuine light possible, and we'll definitely like you.
Oh, that's great. Robin, any final comments to add?
No, these guys have
Smashed
covered it. Have covered it brilliantly. I could not
Yes.
say anymore, but they are living proof that, you know, even if you feel a bit nervous, someone is going to come through, and it might be you who's up here on our panel next year.
That's great. So thank you to the lovely team at BP, and thank you to everyone that attended this evening. So we hope that you're feeling quite empowered and quite excited, because the BP roles are live now. So this webinar is recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. We'll send you the link tomorrow so you can rewatch it as many times as you'd like, because there was a lot of information in here that will hopefully really support you with your next steps. And maybe one day you'll be on a webinar just like this, talking to the next cohort of students to tell them that it truly is possible. So thank you once again. Thank you for all the polls and the chat. I think we did get a question about certificates, which we can also look into. But we hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you so much, and all the best with all of your applications and what you get into in the future. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining.